Welcome back into the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast, part number 4 with our closer, Peter Loshak. Pete, welcome on in, man. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you.
Oh, thanks. No problem. Happy to be here, Drew Martin. But everyone's always like, does the line really matter? Usually it doesn't, but yes, it does sometimes. And when it does, it really does matter. Last week I gave Texas Tech, remember, as my best bet. They won but didn't cover. And in the NFL show I did earlier last week as well, I gave the Rams. I took them at plus 1.5 when the line came out, closed at minus 1.5. They won by 1. It really matters. These line moves do matter. You got to beat the moves and get the best line. It's really true, Drew Martin. So true.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm with you, man. Bet numbers for sure.
Yeah.
And, oh man, you're one of the guys that I remember talking about that many years ago, or not many years ago, a couple years ago.
Yeah, not that much. Come on, but even the Wisconsin game. You know what I mean? Eventually, it closed at 7, and that pushed everything before that covered. But the closer was a push.
Absolutely, man. Well, guys, we are hitting every single game on the board. If you're new to every game on the board, we do it each and every week. All the college football games going down in rotation order using the odds screen. This is part number 4 of a 4-part series. So the 3 parts are already up. If you like watching on YouTube, every game on the board, wherever you're downloading your podcasts at, every game on the board. We are going 213, 214, Alabama, Auburn, down to the end of the card. So this is the last one, and 3:30 Eastern, CBS here, Pete, the Iron Bowl. Alabama at Auburn, minus 14, pretty much across the board here. So you're having to lay 2 touchdowns, 48.5 being the total. 2 touchdowns if you're wanting to bet Alabama. Auburn is at home in Jordan-Hare off of a terrible loss to New Mexico State. You liking anything in the Iron Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, leaning Auburn and leaning under, of course. Obviously, Alabama. You can throw out last week a little bit for Auburn, although you can't throw out that they generally kind of suck on offense. I don't trust that quarterback to keep them in games. But Alabama, of course, has a huge game up next week, and they're looking for the national championship and everything. So I think they just want to get a win and get out. Auburn's going to leave everything on the table, of course. So it's hard to give a good breakdown and make people feel confident about taking a bet on Auburn, and it might in the end prove to be a bad bet. I did take a small shot with the under and Auburn. I couldn't not. Although if both lose, I'll be totally fine with it.
Okay, well, the Eagles going to be flying. It should be hopefully a competitive matchup here with Auburn staying within 2 touchdowns. BYU and Oklahoma State up next. This one also 3:30 Eastern.
All right, by the way, I just want to say I did get 14.5 and 49. And at 14, I probably would not take Auburn. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that extra hook on the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm seeing at Pinnacle now 14 minus 114 for Auburn. So I probably wouldn't pull the trigger on that. Pulled it small at 14.5, but at 14, I probably would not.
It's moved pretty much across the board. So, okay. BYU and Oklahoma State up next. Cowboys minus 17-point home favorites, 56.5 being the total in Stillwater. Are you liking anything with the Cougars and the Cowboys, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, this is just sort of you have to make an educated guess on what's going to happen with BYU in here, because Oklahoma State, of course, is motivated, right? They could get into the Big 12 championship game, and BYU was playing well against Oklahoma last week, and then just est the bed, as they say. And so are they? And they have kind of a questionable offense in general. So are they going to come in here and just sort of like mail it in and wait till next year, or are they going to be a little bit annoyed with themselves and pissed off and come in here and make a good accounting of themselves? Either one is possible. I would lean towards Oklahoma State here minus the points, and the BYU kind of won't show up. But I know that money's come in on BYU at 17.5. Now it's down to 17. We'll see where it closes. I can understand why there's money on BYU, but I kind of disagree with it. And I would also lean to the over as well, because BYU did improve offensively last week. I think they will probably put up a few points here and there. Oklahoma State probably should roll offensively. So I haven't bet this one yet. Leaning Oklahoma State and over, though.
Like it, Pete. We got next one up, staying in the Big 12, West Virginia and Baylor, 7 o'clock Eastern in Waco, minus 9 in the hook. That's the Mountaineers as the road favorite, 54.5 being the total. You like it anything with West Virginia and Baylor?
Yeah, I did bet the under on the opener at 57 as soon as it came out because the quarterback last week was banged up, and now it turns out the reports are that he's going to be out, and the guy who started the year for Baylor is going to be playing, and so this is again kind of an iffy situation. He's obviously an inferior quarterback, but after having the whole year where he was benched and now coming back for the last game, might be a different situation. So I would love to take a shot with West Virginia here. Of course, Baylor's been just terrible ATS all year long, but I don't know if I'm going to. I think West Virginia they were picked last in their conference in the Big 12, and so it's been a very impressive year for them. They're going to get a nice bowl assignment, and I think they're going to want to have another good game here and improve their bowl assignment. But I'm leaning under. I like the under. As far as the spread is concerned, just with a new quarterback coming in for Baylor and just Baylor being so bad this year, ATS and everything, their final home game, don't really want to bet against them. And in fact, if you gave me a free play on the side, I would throw it on Baylor. I'm not going to bet that, but I would throw it on it. I did bet the under 57, and I'd probably, I don't know if I'd take a shot with it. Right? Where is it right now? 54.5? Where'd that? I know it went down.
It's been a little move down.
I don't know if I'd take it. I probably would a little bit, but I do still kind of like the under at I like the under at 57 and the 54.5. I'd probably take it also.
Okay, heading to 219, 220 up next, 2:00 Eastern in Denton, Texas. We get UAB, the Blazers at North Texas, the Mean Green. We are seeing UNT minus 3-point home favorites, Pete. 74 being the total, 74.5 at Bet Online. You liking anything UAB in North Texas?
Well, this one I'm kind of watching and waiting, and I might get some. I haven't bet it yet. I wanted to bet North Texas. I'm thinking about betting North Texas. Obviously, North Texas is very good ATS recently. They haven't necessarily been winning, but they've been covering, and UAB's been very up and down. They got their quarterback back. Then they had a big offensive game. Then they had a terrible loss at Navy. Then they came back last week and beat Temple. So UAB is definitely no slouch. But I want to bet North Texas here just based on the spot and the analytics. I would love to take a shot with North Texas. Haven't pulled the trigger yet. Maybe I'm just waiting to see if any other information comes back and where the line moves, where the market moves. And to be perfectly honest here, Drew Martin, at 73 at the opener, I would have taken the over even there. It's a high total. It could easily, just sneak under. Not saying it's a lock to get over, but even at 73, I like the over. Haven't bet that one yet. Probably won't. Maybe I will. I don't know. But kind of watching and waiting with this one, and probably will wind up betting North Texas either on the spread or money line or team total over one way or another in this game.
Pete Loshak at Pete Loshak on Twitter.
Whenever people say to be perfectly honest, they're always lying, except for me. When I say to be perfectly honest, I really am about to be perfectly honest. Just want to make that clear.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Pete, how do you feel about rivalry names? You like college football rivalry names, or no, not really?
Rivalry names?
Yeah, like the Iron Bowl or the Apple Cup. Or are you a fan of that?
Oh, love it. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
Good.
Love it.
Yeah, no, sure. I'm a big fan of it too. So I try to write them all down.
Yeah.
And we got one here.
Sure.
Northwestern in Illinois, the Land of Lincoln trophy here, Pete. 47 being the total. Illinois, the Illini, minus 6-point home favorites. Hey, Land of Lincoln trophy on the line, Pete.
Yeah, Northwestern was great last week. I did have them. That was a weird move because the first line moved strongly in Purdue's favor. I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Then it came back late game day in favor of Northwestern, and then I was like, I'm sure Northwestern is the side I want to be on, and I did bet them when it came back. So 5 straight ATS wins now for Northwestern. Illinois, of course, they were terrible earlier in the year. I was kind of on that, and then they turned a bit of a corner. They lost to Iowa, close, low-scoring game. And at this game, I was expecting, because of how good Northwestern's been ATS recently, I was expecting the line to be like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 or 2.5. And I was like, you know what? At that line, I might take a shot with Illinois. But when it came out at 6, I was like, I don't know what to do here. And then I was also leaning under at 47, and I didn't understand why the line was as high as it was. I didn't bet it, and I'm assuming it's gotten bet down, right? Where's that line? Oh yeah, 46.5. So I'm still intrigued by the under. It's a good spot for Illinois, but 6 with their makeup is just too high. Northwestern, is still, I think, it's not a great spot for them, but I think that in general, they're still going to be fighting here. So I can't take Illinois at 6 at that line. At 2 or 2.5, I would have taken Illinois, and that's what I was planning on doing. I was surprised that the spread was as high as it was. I was surprised the total was as high as it was, and I'm going to look into it a little bit more and probably take a shot with the under.
Pete,
but I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Farmageddon up next. That is the name of the next rivalry here. It's Iowa State and Kansas State. Farmageddon, boys and girls. 46 being the total, minus 10. That's Kansas State at home. You like anything in Farmageddon, Pete?
This one I'm probably going to pass on just because it's a tough game. It's a weird line. It's a weird situation. And, I bet most of these college football games. This one I'm probably going to be passing on. Of course, Iowa State lost at Texas, and that was a bad loss for them. That was a kind of a deflating loss. They had covered, though, 4 out of 5 before that. So this was a huge line. They're a physical, scrappy team. And Kansas State, obviously very impressive. They are coming off the Kansas game, though. And did we talk about that game? Because Kansas State took all the money because of the quarterback situation for Kansas. And in that game, I said I would be leaning Kansas getting 10. Mm-hmm. And of course, Kansas State did win, but they didn't cover. So even though they won, it was a great game for them. Is it maybe a little bit of letdown here? I don't know. Kansas State obviously still has a lot to play for. They're looking to defend their Big 12 championship, so they do have a lot to play for. And then the line has moved in Iowa State's favor, which is it's a move that I both agree with and disagree with at the same time. And when that happens, I'm like, I just got to stay off this game. So I think I'm just going to stay off it. A blowout would not shock me. Iowa State clinging tight and losing by a field goal would not shock me. Low scoring would not shock me. High scoring would not shock me. It's just a strange game. Can't say a very impressive team though, so I'm gonna pass on this one personally.
Yeah, Iowa State, Kansas State's probably not going to be shocking as a game. We are seeing 40.
Yeah, I will say that if you gave me a free play on the game, I would throw it on the over, because even though Iowa State is normally thought of as the physical, relatively low scoring team, their offense has gotten better recently, and their quarterback is putting up some good passing numbers. It's not a high total, so if there's anything I'm thinking about, it's the total. 48 is where it opened. Or the first line I saw. Where is it now, Drew Martin? Do you see it?
Yeah, it's across the board 46.
See, there you go. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to stay off it. Maybe. What a crazy game. And Iowa State's 9.5 now, right?
10. I'm seeing 10 pretty much across the board.
Yeah, we'll see. I would not be surprised if both of those lines, if we see U-shaped line movement here, and if it closes at 48.5 and Kansas State minus 13.
All right, we'll buy the dip on the U-shaped movement. Financial terms here in the sports betting world. I like it, Pete Loshak. And guys, if you were liking what Pete said towards the over, this is a good shout out towards the sponsor, betonline.ag. The game starts here. It's 46 across the board. BetOnline, the sole book, hanging a 45.5. So put that half a point in your pocket and check out betonline.ag. We love having them as the sponsor of every game on the board, just like Viva Tequila Seltzer. Flavored tequila seltzer, because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with a kick just as we like to live our lives. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Get it shipped to your house. We got Texas A&M and LSU up next. SEC West battle, Pete, kicking us off on Saturday. 66 being the total, minus 11 in the hook. That's the LSU Go Tigers at home in the Bayou.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what to make of this one, because this one is the obvious don't overthink it. Public's going to be all over it, and the public's going to be right. Play for this game would, of course, be LSU, right? Texas A&M and terrible ATS over the last month and a half or whatever. LSU just steamrolling everyone, covering everything. Jalen Daniels, awesome, and trying to prove himself for the Heisman Trophy, right? So he's going to be playing all out. Then, of course, the coaching change for Texas A&M. They've been making some changes and trying to shake things up a little bit. So that's another monkey wrench. That's a little uncertainty that's been thrown in here. So. It's just that LSU has such a powerful offense with the wide receivers, a quarterback. The obvious play would be LSU minus the points or the LSU team total over, even though Texas A&M's defense is pretty formidable, statistically at least. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. and I might be leaving money on the table by not pulling the trigger on LSU. Just seems like, at this point in the year, just situations like, like early in the year when you don't really know and something might be anomalous and you don't realize it. But at this point in the year, LSU rolling like this is something that you can just sort of like bet into every week,
Sure.
So but having said that, I haven't bet it yet.
And one thing I think you can look for, Pete, because LSU in kind of a unique situation where they're already bowl eligible, yet we were talking about this with Big Man, yet not going to the SEC championship game.
Right.
I think that they're just going to, Jalen Daniels in the Heisman Trophy. Why not get your quarterback the Heisman? Like, try to run it up as much as possible. I don't know if that's something you kind of subscribe to.
And his receivers are in the running for the Biletnikoff Award. So, so they're going to be going all out offensively for sure, And if he does it against a defense like Texas A&M, which is statistically kind of impressive, maybe that's even more impressive to the judges, So, yeah, I would agree with you on that. Yeah.
Cool. We'll staying in the state of Louisiana here, 3:00 Eastern, 227-228. This one, another named rivalry, ULL and ULM. That's Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana Lafayette, and the battle on the Bayou. 54 being the total. Pete, we're seeing -12 in the hook. That's the Ragin' Cajuns at home.
Yeah, I mean, Lafayette needs a win to get to 6. And then ULM, of course, they're out of it. They've had a terrible year, but of course they play spoiler in this spot. And a lot of times the spoiler role can be more motivating than a team that has the pressure on them needing a win. And, we've seen Ole Miss. I mean, we've seen ULM have such an up and down year. There were times when they were, were competitive with quality teams and covered by a mile as a huge dog, and other times where they absolutely didn't show up at all. They got blown out by Ole Miss in their last game. But they did cover that one, 3 straight bad losses. And, my thought on this one is if I'm going to make a play, again, this is another one that I haven't bet. Leaning ULM, though, and I know it's now gotten up to like 13. I'm seeing at Pinnacle, which doesn't surprise me at all. So I don't know. I'm probably going to pass. 33% chance I'll do something with ULM. Just want to see where if anyone else has any opinions, any other information comes in, and see where the market goes. But leaning ULM, but it's a modest lean, nothing strong.
Like it, Pete. We got another regional rivalry here in the Sun Belt. Troy and Southern Miss, 12:00 Eastern kick here. We are seeing Troy -16 to as high as -17 point road favorites. 48 being the total at Bet Online. It's Troy versus Southern Miss, and this is the Delta of hate, Pete. You liking anything with the Trojans and Southern Miss?
Yeah, I did. The line hasn't moved, but when the line came out, I did take a shot with Southern Miss. No disrespect to Troy, of course. They have been great ATS all year long, but Southern Miss was terrible. Then they turned kind of a corner late in the year, and they lost to Mississippi State last week, but they had 8 kind of nice ATS wins before that. Now they're getting this many points in a game like this with a relatively low total, and I don't like to bet against Troy, but I did take a shot with Southern Miss at 17. Hasn't moved yet. We'll see where it closes, but I did take Southern Miss plus the points at 17. Just I think that their change of form a few weeks ago is kind of real, and I bet into it in other games as well in that span of 3 games. So I'm doing it again, taking Southern Miss plus 17.
Liberty and UTEP up next. The Flames, I believe, in the Conference USA Championship, no matter what. But they're here at UTEP. Kind of a tough trip, all the way from Virginia to West Texas here in El Paso. -17.5 point road favorites, 56.5 being the total. This is a tough one, Pete. You liking anything in El Paso, Texas?
Well, no, the under wasn't tough. I took that one immediately at 59. Now it's down to 56 or wherever it is, and I would still take it there. And I did take UTEP plus the points. That was tough. I admit that. And, Liberty, an absolute, juggernaut this year. And, they were, I've had a pretty good college football season overall. But one mistake I made was betting against Liberty a few times earlier in the year. I definitely learned my lesson and didn't do it after that. But I thought there were some not such great spots for Liberty where they were too big of a favorite, bet against them. And, of course, they rolled their teams, they rolled their opponents in those games. They're just 4-3 ATS, though, recently over their last 7. And yeah, so, we know the spot for Liberty. They got a big game coming up next week. UTEP is probably going to be pretty run heavy here. I like the under in UTEP's game against Middle Tennessee last week, which was a terrible call. But I took the under here again. And so I like the under at 59. I'd still take that. I automatically played. I would still take it at 56 or wherever it is right now. And I took UTEP plus 17, despite the fact that Liberty is such an impressive juggernaut of a team. And you're right. It is now they're ranked. It's a tough travel spot. They got a big game against a tough team coming up next week. So, and UTEP is probably going to shorten the game. So all those things combined made me take UTEP plus the points.
Okay. And if you do like the under as well, 56 available at Bet Online. We got Jacksonville State and New Mexico State. New Mexico State, the team that Liberty's going to play for the Conference USA Championship here. 50 and a half as the total. -2 in the hook. That's Jacksonville State as the road favorite at New Mexico State, even though New Mexico State's playing in the conference championship game. Do you like anything here? Jacksonville State and the Aggies in Las Cruces.
Yeah, this was another one that I bet immediately on the opening lines as soon as they came out. I took Jacksonville State and the over. I took it at +2 and the over at 49.5. And New Mexico State, awesome, obviously, but Jacksonville State just as good. ATS on the year. I had them against Louisiana Tech coming off the bye as a big favorite. And, again, it's, New Mexico State, they have Liberty next. Jacksonville State doesn't. And I would say that I like the over quite a bit, or I would say significantly more than I like the side here. But yeah, I took the over, and it's still just 50.5. I would take that one, like that one. And I took Jacksonville State as a dog. Jacksonville State, no joke as a team. New Mexico State, even slightly less of a joke as a team than Jacksonville State, but because of the spot and the line, I took Jacksonville State as a dog.
Yeah, you got to think this spot for New Mexico State's tough. Beating Auburn in Jordan-Hare. They got the conference championship up next week. Who knows the last time New Mexico State won a conference championship? Jeez, it's probably been a long time, but yeah, spot-wise, a little interesting there. We got 2 games left, guys, talking with Pete Loshak, the closer, every game on the board this week, 9 o'clock Eastern here. So we're getting a little late night action. Wyoming and Nevada, we are seeing the Cowboys -11 across the board. BetOnline.ag, sponsor of the show, The Soul, -10 in the hook. If you do like Wyoming, 41.5 being the total here. We get the Cowboys at the Wolfpack in Reno.
Yeah, I got nothing on this game. Do you want me to pretend that I do have something and just make some shit up? Or Nevada's a huge dog. Wyoming blasted Hawaii, very nice. Nevada lost to Colorado State, but they did cover. Definitely, my first thought would be Nevada getting all these points. But I'm gonna want to. Where is it right now? Is it still 11? What's the line here? What's
11, 10.5 at Bet On. Have you ever been to Reno, Pete? Maybe that would be good.
No, I would love to go, though. I would love to travel around. Hell yeah. Travel around more. It's tough in this 2023 to live the life you want to live. But Nevada, it's Wyoming, of course, is a team that I'm always thinking is going to have a big home field advantage and sort of a bad road field disadvantage, especially as a double-digit favorite. So leaning Nevada, but I didn't, and I did bet Nevada against Colorado State last week, but I was purely tailing market moves and things that I was seeing market wise. I had no handicap on that one that I liked, and it wasn't a close cover. They covered by 2 points. So definitely leaning Nevada, but as far as that personal handicap is concerned, just not sure what to make of this.
And Pete, you say tough moving around in 2023. Guys, I bet Pete Loshak in Costa Rica. We both lived there for a while. And now you're up in New York? What's Pete Loshak's plans for the future?
You kidding me? I'm trying to fucking win the Bet Online Survivor contest. That's my only real plan. That's the only real thing I'm thinking about right now. And gonna go to some Thanksgiving stuff tomorrow. Beyond that, who knows? Gonna try to jackpot a couple of free play parlays I got on Saturday, and that's about it.
All right, nice. What out some parlays in the Survivor there? BetOnline.ag, the Survivor contest.
Yeah, some places will let you parlay free plays, which is great. Other places certainly will not, which is understandable.
Okay. Hey, check it out, guys. We got Colorado State and Hawaii. This is the nightcap, Pete, on the island for Saturday night, finishing off college football and the regular season with this game. We're seeing Colorado State -5.5, 55.5 being the total. You like anything with the Rams and the Rainbow Warriors here, Pete?
Yeah, this is another weird one. I guess I was leaning over. Again, want to see what the where's that total? I saw 54.5. What is it now?
Yeah, it's 55.5 across the board. We are seeing 54 at some places, 54, 55.5.
Yeah, again, I was thinking about an over, and Colorado State, a little bit overvalued right now. Now Hawaii comes back, so this is a game I'm probably going to pass on. But
fair enough. And I do see one write-in game here, Pete. Yukon in Massachusetts. Huskies -2 in the hook and 51.5. I don't think this was like the email that I sent you with the games, but do you like anything?
Oh, yeah, I got
real
it.
Degenerate special. Okay, you like anything?
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, Yukon, big win off the FCS team, and UMass, of course, got beat down by Liberty, which we can forgive them for. And UMass has a quarterback who, is a pretty productive guy who can do that against non-elite teams. And, they also have a nice running back who's been great. So I actually took UMass here. I wasn't quite sure. I was, my only concern was that I was a little bit surprised they were a dog. I wasn't exactly sure where that was coming from. But yeah, I took a shot with UMass. Absolutely. On the money line and +2.5. What's the line now? Where is it? Still 2.5? Here we go. Oh, 1.5. Yeah. I would still take it at 1.5 and as a +105 line or something like that. Yeah. Not necessarily loving it. And if it turns out that, Yukon wins somewhat comfortably, that'll be okay. But I took UMass and lean over as well, and the UMass team total over.
All right, looking towards the Minutemen there.
Sorry. Total is 50. Now it's up to 52. Yeah, a UMass team total over is definitely something I would still be very interested in.
All right, fair enough, Pete. Great stuff, man. Second time on the podcast. Last week was the debut. Fan favorite here in the comments, guys. Let us know that you're watching on YouTube. Happy Thanksgiving out there, wherever you're downloading your podcast at. Every game on the board. Pete, do you have a best bet for the listeners this week?
Let me think. Let's see what we got here. I could throw on UTEP. How can your best bet be a bet against Liberty ATS? You can't do that. You just can't do that. On the other hand, if I don't do that, what else am I going to give out here? All right, let me just go through the card and see. I could do UMass, but it's just the UTEP spot I do kind of like, and then the other one I would be thinking about would be the over in that Jacksonville State New Mexico State game, or like the Jacksonville State team total over. That is extraordinarily tempting right there. I won't give a team total for a play. You know what? I'll just let me see. Oh, gosh, yeah, okay, all right. I'm going to shock the world here, Drew Martin, and I'll say UTEP +17 against Liberty. Best bet.
High water mark is actually 17.5, Pete. So we can give you that extra hook. Best bet. Miners. Let's go. UTEP +17.5, guys. Pete, great stuff, man, as always. Any final thoughts here for the listeners before we shut it down?
Yeah, my final thought is I probably should have given the under as the best bet in that Liberty UTEP game, actually, instead of the side. But okay, that's my final thought, Drew Martin.
Well, do you want to change it?
No. You can't change it. Just my final thought.
All right. Hey, well, what about like the birthday pick, the low hanging fruit? We got to get some more of that going. I miss that stuff.
Anyone wants a shout out or a birthday pick or anything like that? Oh, of course. I'm a pleaser, Drew Martin. That's rare in this industry. A people pleaser as a handicapper.
Pete, but was the birthday pick a joke, or was it always on your birthday, or did you just have multiple birthdays? That was one thing.
No, it was their birthday.
Okay.
It was viewers' birthdays.
You would give out the birthday pick. Okay. I
like
it.
They would say it's my birthday, and then they started to be like, "Oh, it's my dog's birthday. It's my cousin's niece's birthday. It's this and that," which I usually would accommodate anyway. But no, it was never my birthday.
Pete Loshak at Pete Loshak on Twitter. Pete, thanks, man. Enjoy the holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to you, buddy.
My pleasure. Thanks, Drew. See you very soon.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving out there, and cash those tickets. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in.